Yeah, the micro SD. Okay, 48 for the L one. And then we have a micro right there.
I should turn my mic off.
One already.
What about how you have the
Model 2.
Model 2?
Yeah. Model 2. Then I have USB hub, card reader. Watch out. So switch over to here. Start using this since we're live. Okay, everybody. It is now 2:01. We're a little just a minute late, but thank you for coming to ACM. My name is Matthew Berry, and today we're going to be showcasing Raspberry Pi. But to begin, we're going to start with a prayer. Does anybody want to volunteer? Yes? All right, great.
Our Dear Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this day, for this opportunity which we have to review our knowledge of Raspberry Pis and to learn more about them. We are thankful for the technology which was provided for us and for the ability to grow in our field and our knowledge of that field. We pray for expert to be with us as we are the strive to learn, and pray for these things in the Father, in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Great. So we're trying out a stream, and one of the things is that we wanted to get people who are doing BYU classes online to attend, and right now it looks like we don't have anybody. That's fine. If they come, they will come. But I'm going to pass around this roster. There was a link that was part of the stream, but and some people, 4 people, last I checked, signed up. But this roster will let us know who's here and if we're going to do some sort of activity, that how to get in touch with you and stuff like that. So if you could fill it out, that's my pen. I'd love to have it back. That would be great. We just want to know what track you're on and what, like, if you're a junior, freshman, sophomore, senior, whatever that is, that helps. You can also do it online. There's this QR code here, so that would be really handy. You can use that to register, or you could just do that. It has 2 more questions, like your interests, and has nothing on pizza. But maybe I should put a pizza question on there. Also, who hasn't signed up for Slack yet? You haven't? You haven't? You haven't? This is how you do it. You can take your phone out, take a picture. You can go to that link down there. And this is how you're able to give us feedback, communicate. And I think it would become kind of valuable down the line, because before we get started, we wanted to tell you about this little idea that we came up with. We were thinking really hard that one of the best ways for us to get value from going to ACM is to get everybody involved in some sort of common activity. And the thing that we came up with was to do a sort of a robot marathon. Actually, this thing still feels like it's on. Anyway, the idea is that we would have ourselves create a bunch of Lego Mindstorms. And by the way, Brother Grimmett has approved this, so we have a budget. We would create a bunch of Lego Mindstorms robots, and then we would control them from your phone or your computer. You have to develop some sort of interface for it. And that way you can control it remotely. And it would go through an obstacle course. And the obstacle course will be marked with, like, areas of difficulty. So if you pass over this thing and you get over this threshold, you acquire points and stuff like this, stuff like that. And there's different, like, ways for you to develop. You could create an app from scratch that would connect to the Bluetooth API of your phone or for your laptop or whatever, and make it so that we can control whether it's going to move forward, left, right, the acceleration, and so forth. There are already apps available, so if you just want to build a robot, you will get fewer, like, you'll have less of a handicap that way. right out of the bat for your points because there's development points. But you can just download an app and connect it. And after being able to map your motors to your NXT device, which would be getting, you'd be able to control it from your phone or whatever. Or you can find something that's open source online, the code's published, and you can modify it to make it look like yourself. There's different tiers. And depending upon like your guys' interest in this competition, then we'll move forward with it. Essentially, any project that we do needs to have involvement. And we selected this project because we feel that you're already doing a lot of coursework. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to take a lot of effort and a lot of time away from your schoolwork. So by doing that, it should take you like 2 hours to make something and start getting it to do stuff, and then a bit more time depending on how you go about programming. Being put into teams, you have to fill out a form, and you put into teams. You have to have somebody who is less experienced, because we want to apply the BYU learning model. We want to teach one another. So you'd have less experienced team members, more experienced team members, and you'd all be able to teach each other how to go about developing your robot. It could take any form you want. I'm pretty sure that we're going to have to come up with some sort of rules to say you can't have like 8 motors. You can't have like a thing that is a slasher that's going to put a dagger in the heart of your competitor, stuff like that. But in order for it to get over the obstacle course, you're going to have to come up with some sort of innovative design that makes it so that it has better balance. It has good ability to continue moving, even if it's like ended up in this position or in some other weird position. My wife put this together in like 2 hours this morning, and well, this NXT unit's screen is broken, so it doesn't work very well. But we're kind of excited about it. If you guys are excited too, then we can start putting this together. And at the end, there should be some sort of prize. I hear that Brother Grimmett is a big fan of competitions, and some sort of prize might be in order. I can't guarantee that because we haven't gotten that far in the discussions. We just wanted to see if you guys are up to it. And then if you are up to it, commit to it, and we can start ordering NXT packages for development. They're not cheap. Having like 4 of them, I think, costs about $1,000 for 4 kits. So it depends on what he comes up with and what he gives us. But it's very generous. So are you guys fans of this idea? Yeah? Yeah? So, all right. So we'll come up with a form, and we'll send it out in an email. And you are going to want to list the details of your team. There should be like, I think there's like, how many did you choose? 2 to 4 team members. And again, we want to apply the learning model. So you have to find somebody who is like freshman or sophomore, doesn't have a lot of experience. You want them to grow and develop just as you are. And your experience will help benefit their growth. And you will also acquire leadership skills if you're the project leader. We've also thought about like having some extra tiers, so it goes beyond just a remote control. But if you want to do some sort of automated process where the robot can go through a very rudimentary obstacle course on its own, depending on the speed that it can go out of this obstacle course, will add up to your like points and stuff like that. I think we've got 3 viewers now, so I'm going to switch over to the QA. Why is that disabled? I want to enable QA. We want to be able to get people involved, and so we were trying to see how to get QA working. So, any questions on this idea? If you're all fans of it, I just want to tell you a little bit about the history. We've been looking through like the archives of the previous projects that have been done. Somebody's tried to create a game that was for all of ACM to work on. Only 2 people ever committed to it. Like on the GitHub code repository, only 2 people ever did it. So that's kind of disappointing. So we want to see this project succeed. So that's why we're trying to go with a more careful approach at doing that. Any questions? Come on. Nothing? Yes.
Additional information will be given out on the emails.
Yes, we'll have additional information. mean, there's some things that we're fuzzy on because you don't have the kits yet. We don't necessarily know how creative you guys are going to be. I do think that there's going to have to be a limit to the size of your robot because otherwise it definitely won't get through the obstacle course. There's just certain considerations that we haven't sorted out. But this is just meant to be a fun project that gets all of you guys involved and people outside the department that I truly be fans of this. So, great. Today's presenter is John. He's a veteran from ACM. I guess we can't turn on QA for some reason. You know how to turn it on, John? Group chat is enabled, but QA is off. We've got 3 viewers, which is really cool. So John is going to be doing a presentation on the Raspberry Pi. He's got like all sorts of things that he's been trying to do with it. Raspberry Pi is a $35 computer. It's really inexpensive. It's got an ARM processor on there. It's got onboard RAM. The new ones, I think, they have 2 gigs of RAM. You insert a micro SD card.
I think you have to set it up
hard
before
drive that you use
you that.
for your storage. And he's going to be showing off the things that he's done to make it really interesting. So, like, for instance, when he was talking to us about it, he did game console emulation. You could do web servers.
Yeah.
You could do
Just do
media
group chat.
servers and stuff. All right, so everybody, we couldn't get the QA to work, so there's a group chat. So if you want to do group chat, that's there on the side. I don't know if it flips the image or not. But John will be able to see your questions and then answer people for you if you're participating. So there's 3 people. So that's really cool. John?
Oh, yeah. So, Raspberry Pis, they are an ARM. Depending upon which brand you get, version, or Raspberry Pi you get, depends upon the ARM that you have. But pretty much the newest ones are V7. So pretty much what you've got in most of your smartphone. It has a 1 gigahertz processor with the quad core. So this is four cores, and it also has 1 gig of RAM. So that enables you to do a lot with just a small device for $35. So it's not too bad. Some other things, I'm going to pass it around. Some other facts is you can take this concept, you can bring it down. What I have in my hand here is from a Kickstarter that I supported not long ago. It's called MetaWare. They took the concept of the Raspberry Pi down. So it's kind of interesting to see the comparisons. Of course, you don't have most of your ports. They really brought it down to the point where you just easily, and it even comes with it, just have a watch battery and power it up. So I'll pass that around.
It's like a spy gadget. Put that in the sole of your shoe and start calling people.
But, I mean, there's so many things you can do with this. What's it called again? MetaWare. MetaWare? Yeah, it's a Kickstarter, so you could probably still support it right now. Got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. That's the main thing. Was its size and having a processor on it. Let's see what else. So most of the things that you need for Raspberry Pi are kind of simple. When you get it for the $35, you just get the board. So what I have, so what you mainly get when you get the Raspberry Pi is the board. The case I have right here was $10. You need to buy one or make one yourself. And then dongles become extra. But really all you need is a USB charger and a cord. That and the keyboard, maybe. Depending upon whether or not you actually communicate with it. But yeah, I mean, with those 3 things, you really got a computer. You can add a mouse as well. You can basically start up your own computer with it. So I'm going to try to connect it here. I'm going to unplug that for you.
Go right ahead.
Let's start this video. Takes 5 volts. Not really practice at all. Depending upon whether or not you got it overclocked. Depends upon how much power it's going to try to pull out. Specs are off. Yeah. One of the beautiful features, so I had a Raspberry Pi 8. And those are really old, kind of blocky, and they didn't have that many ports. And so one of the things I really needed was a dongle right here, a port hub, so I could connect it, because it didn't have that many ports, and it couldn't handle too much. It had a 512 gig RAM, and so it wasn't able to do too much. So this right here is my Raspbian version. And the other thing about the Raspberry Pi 2 that I enjoy in comparison to the normal Raspberry Pi is that you can actually connect USB hubs to it without any problem. So you can actually connect devices without trying to reset. That's one of the things that the old Raspberry Pi would do, is if you connected to a device to it, it would reset. You have to reset the whole kernel all over again. So let's see what's going. Most of the stuff that I have, the mouse and the keyboard, it costs about $1. Not too expensive. You can usually get these cheaper now. That was about 2 years ago. Let's see what we got here. I forgot what for the P. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably what it is. Raz.
Used to be that.
Raz. No, not. There's another. Is that it? That's one since we can't load this one up. We can look at two other operating systems.
You just didn't follow.
No, that's a special one that I put in there. It's because I use this as my Plex server. It's all good. I'll just use the other one. The other one's same operating system.
TTY one.
Yeah. It supports a TTY, and it loads in through command line first before it loads up the GUI. All right, so the other thing that you'll need is definitely an operating system, because all computers really need an operating system to work. And one of the things you do is on raspberrypi.org, you can download an operating system for it. And you can just load it up. And there's so many different flavors of operating systems out there that there's so many things you can actually do. So there's like media centers, emulators, emulation stations, which I'm probably going to be showing you right now. Emulation station, yep. Emulation stations, there's Raspbian, there's Ubuntu Mate, there's Snappy Core, there's Windows, you have to get Windows, the Raspberry Pi. No, it's a CLI. It's a CLI, so it's a command line interface. So you're gonna probably have to know DOS to work around it, use things. You probably could get a GUI for that desktop environment. I'm not sure. I'm not a Windows guy. I don't mess with that stuff. Yeah. So here's my emulation station. One of the benefits of this is I can actually plug in controllers. And it's got drivers for it too. I can plug in an NES controller, Super Nintendo controller, PlayStation controller, and just lock it in, play around. So, and it has Bluetooth, so you can actually hook up a Bluetooth on it, which I have right now in it. This is set up for a PlayStation controller, PlayStation 3 controller. So I have left thumb, right thumb, up analog.
So what's it take to set this up on
Well,
Raspberry Pi?
this is what happens when you load it in for the first time. It just asks you for your controller, and then it sets up the whole controller drivers. Now you'll have to specially suit exactly certain controls. So like with this Nintendo 64, it doesn't really know what it's actually trying to do with it because it's used to PlayStation 3. So you have to go in there and you have to change around the script. There's a script that you have to load up. And then I've got all my games. So who want which console? Anyone?
Wow.
N64. Don't have it on me. I actually have a port for it. Can't find any N64 controllers. Many people want them. All right, so let's play Super Mario 64 with NES controller.
NES
See how far that goes.
It's me, Mario. Oh,
I can't control it. Yeah. Probably using the wrong one. There's 3 different emulators you can get for it. The N64 emulator is not that good because it's experimental, but it can run it. I mean, it can run Super Mario 64 without problems. It just depends upon the emulator. I did it again.
Battery's getting
All right. I don't know, with the controls that I have, most likely in NES. Let's see.
That's a lot of games you got in there.
Yeah.
You get like a gigantic package of them and just drop them in.
Depends upon what you. Most of the time, people take it's their archive copy.
Oh, smiling.
I don't do those ROM ones. Thanks for
How did you get copies of the games? How did
you can. There's ways to do it. You can get them off. You can actually take the games and take them off. I guess the controls I have for it are completely wonky. But I could do it on this thing. I haven't messed with it in like 6 months. So it's no surprise that I can't control it that well. But I mean, there's different. Yeah, you can take them off. There's different ways you can actually take the ROMs off. The information of the ROMs, and then have them on there. You can just look up online, figure that out. Most emulators accept it. And then most emulators tell you to not take it from the internet directly or not directly.
Right.
Yeah, you can usually copy them right off. So like there's ways you can take them off. CDs are really easy, like PlayStation games, they have ways to just take it with the ISO, because that's all it's looking for. ISO. So oh, and Mrs. DOS. So like Mrs. DOS and IBM games, you can literally, these are all freeware, like super freeware. They're online.
Do you have Wingman?
No.
Darn it.
Evo Control. Yeah. And Warcraft. Also plays like recent stuff. It goes with DOSBox. DOSBox. Graphics. Oh, Game Story is freeware. You can get that without any problems. Oh yeah. And so all these are ISOs. Just let them know. Yeah. So you can make your Raspberry Pi into an emulation station, you can actually with these, what we're talking about with robots, you can actually probably connect Raspberry Pi directly to it. They have ports where you can hook up phone line.
Yeah.
So you can actually hook up straight to the Raspberry Pi.
They're weird kind of phone line now.
They're kind of,
Yeah, they're weird.
I think you could probably find them. Plus, if you have issues with connecting certain devices, Raspberry Pi has a GPI port, GPIO ports, at least 30 of them.
That's too loud.
So you have GPIO ports that you can like connect to. One of the things that I was doing recently was connecting a Sega Genesis controller directly to my Raspberry Pi. And so there's different things you can do with GPIO ports. With the right drivers, heck, you can even make your own drivers in C. So if you're actually ambitious to do so, you can make whatever you really want with your Raspberry Pi and have to do whatever what you want to do electronically. Let's see. Any questions?
So about hooking up the Raspberry Pi to like your robot, that's actually something that Brother Grimmett mentioned. He kind of wanted the project to be like Raspberry Pi controller connected to a Lego thing, and he'd get kits for that. But
yeah. I mean, really, to be honest with you, most of these devices look just like you just fit right in and hook it up. And with the right GPIO ports in the right case, I mean, most cases will have the GPIO ports open up for you, so you can just directly connect the device to it, and you can run it. So I say go with it. I say go with connecting one up, because it's awesome. I mean, the amount of power that you have. One of the projects I was thinking about doing is, where's the MetaWare? One thing I was thinking about, since this is so small, having like a little mini GPS on it, or at least a tracker or something that can control, say, a quadcopter. So this is not gonna hurt the stability of a quadcopter. Plus, you can actually hook this right in with the power, and it's not gonna take that much power either to control it. So
I really like the quadcopter idea.
yeah, and there's different things you can do. I'm using this for my senior project. I'm gonna be doing Wi-Fi and MAC address location. So it actually takes the Wi-Fi signal off and locates exactly where you're at in the building, depending on the Wi-Fi. So it actually take it off, and then this would actually send through Bluetooth to your phone, and the phone will tell you this is where that person's at, depending upon the Wi-Fi around it. So, and that's one of the things that I was thinking about doing with it. And so there's like so many things you can actually do. I've been rambling off with just the skim of things that people have done with it. One of the things you can do, and one of the things I've done before, so here's my hard drive, 2 terabyte. I put this thing up to it, watch movies on it. You can actually have media centers on it. You can actually, one of the things that I was trying to do a few days ago, make it a Plex server. So Plex is an open source, as I remember, it's open source, open venue. So it allows you to actually port all your movies or any media, home videos, movies, anything that you have media-wise, digital-wise, to that server. And the server can actually allow you to access it privately, meaning that it's your own personal private collection and library anywhere. So you can have Plex on your phone, you can have Plex on a PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. You can stream videos your own private collection off your own little personal server. And you can do that. You don't have to have a computer to do it. Well, you do. You don't have to have a big desktop or a laptop to do it. You can do it on a Raspberry Pi too. Take it off and stream it off. So those are the few things you can do. So any other questions before I lead into some of the things that you probably need to do to access it? Okay. So one of the things that you probably will need to do to actually access it in, so like most people don't really care to use a little screen most of the time. They don't really care to actually have a connection. One of the things that I've done before, a little expensive but not too bad. So the school has a ton of VGA monitors everywhere. Windows Lab, library, every place, even the Easton labs have VGA connections to most of the computers. That was a problem because the only place that you have HDMI are either in the classrooms or in the Windows Lab with a big TV. It's kind of annoying because you have everything out there and people usually want to use it. So one of the things that I've done is have a VGA to HDMI connection. The great thing about Raspberry Pi, so here's the VGA to Raspberry Pi, VGA to HDMI connection. This was about $8 on Amazon. And one of the great things about Raspberry Pi, it actually has an audio port, so you can actually push all audio out at this audio port and plug it into a speaker or headset or headphones if you wanted to. There's a lot of things you can actually do to connect it out. Most people like to do it through SSH, so like what we do with the Linux Lab, we SSH into it or remote access through PuTTY, the Linux Lab. Most people want to do that. One of the pains, though, that come with SSH getting into the Raspberry Pi is if this is connected to optics, which I'm pretty sure most people have in their apartments or houses, you're not going to be able to access it. And the reason for that is because it has a firewall. Optics has a firewall that disables anyone to actually have contact or connection to any other device because it does a private home network before it does a public network outside. And so one of the things you would probably have to do is something called Hamachi. Hamachi is a VPN, so a virtual private network. So what it does is just overlooks the router and goes straight through. So you have direct access. And you can actually, the other benefits is make this your own personal VPN. So that way, if you're out and about, say example, you're at McDonald's, you want to connect to the Wi-Fi, but you don't want anyone else to know what you're doing. And you know, there's a lot of people that do packet sniffing out and about in the real world. So one of the things you could do is actually have a VPN that you can connect straight to, and it encrypts everything. Like a little side connection, so that way you can actually connect without having to worry about people's clicking on the internet. So that's a few things that I've looked into, a few things that you can actually do. I showed the emulation station. There's a Plex server. Let's see. I mean, there's a few other things I can actually show you what Plex is if anyone wants to know any more about Plex. But other than that, let's see. I think that's really about it. Any other questions? Any ideas on what they could do with Raspberry Pi?
That's the little magic news on the internet. You get like a monitor, and then something like a separate radio, and
Yeah. Anything else?
The thing that I've seen out of BYU from a senior project is they've hooked up an Xbox Connect and they created this museum installation. So they have this Sandbox and that Connect is above it, and it's able to determine like the depth and height of the sand. And then there's a projector, and based off of the Connect data it's receiving, it will color the sand using the projector. So that way, when it's a mountain, it gets like green, it becomes white. If it's a valley, it has a water under there because it turns blue. It's able to detect these things. And that was one of the things I saw coming out of the Raspberry Pi. I think that was last year.
There's a lot of things you can actually do, and there's so many other devices. Oh, yeah.
There are also some facial recognition projects.
No, it's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of was it infrared? There's infrared cameras you can get with it. There's cameras, motion sensing cameras. There's with the motion sense cameras. One of the things I was thinking about was like a pantry that does an actual stack, so you can actually make a stack of everything and it'll tell you what you need to get for your food storage. It keeps up to date on it. Things like that. I mean, it's just different ideas. Anything you can think about, and that's the great thing, and that's what companies are looking for nowadays. They're actually looking for more people that work with the internet thing, getting Raspberry Pis or Metaware connected up to the internet or connected up to their phones so that they can use it. And that's a big push. Like wearables and Apple Watch, Google Watch, different things that you can wear, you can use that will actually keep track of different data throughout our lives. And so that's a big push, especially for Microsoft. And that's one of the reasons why they came out with their operating system on the Raspberry Pi, is they're pushing hard to get their operating system on multiple platforms, but at the same time, pushing out there for internet things, getting things connected to the internet. Heck, one of the things that Brother Jones showed me the other day was diapers with a sensor on them. So when they're used, your phone will tell you, hey, your child needs to get changed. And the makers say that it's only 2 cents more than an actual diaper. So, and we're getting there. When your kid's diaper, you connect to the internet. So, there's so many things you can do. So, but before we go any further, I have a quiz for you guys. So I have actually another Bluetooth dongle that I randomly got the other day. Without knowing that I had an actual other one. So I have 2 Bluetooth dongles. I have one that I don't need. So this is up in the air for anyone that can actually answer this question and actually wants one for their Raspberry Pi or computers or anything that they want to connect. The question is, what version? No. Okay, this is a better one. What are the 3 most used operating systems for the Raspberry Pi? Well, Raspbian is Debian. RetroPie is Raspbian. Without looking it up, Raspbian is the one that everyone uses. Then the other one's Mate. People can use Mate. People use Mate all the time. There's one more.
Windows.
There you go. I just said it a few days ago. It's the Windows operating system. No, people use it.
It just doesn't have the GUI.
Yeah. Huh? Oh no, if you don't think that you're going to be using it. All right. Well, that's about all that I have. I mean, that's as short as I can go without going into depth with everything. We don't have enough time to do that. So, yeah, that's it.
He's done.
I'm done.
Well, at most I saw 3 viewers. Now we're down to 1. That's fine. So before we end and all that, any feedback or if you come up with any ideas for how you got Lego Mindstorms, or if you prefer, you can just contact us in Slack. That'd be good. And I'm really grateful that all of you guys came. You got a nice long list here, so that's good. And yes, nice long list. And Next week, I believe we're going to be having a guy from the Career Center coming over and talking about getting an internship. Since the STEM Fair is coming up really quick next month, it's very applicable. I think it's a very useful thing for us to listen to. So invite your friends if they want to get tips and pointers on preparing their resume, figuring out resume questions. This dude is an expert in making sure people get hired. So that's what's coming up for next week. And we're going to work on firming up the whole LEGO Mindstorm competition deal and sending you stuff via email that way. And I really hope you guys check it. It's probably going to come from Sister Price, but since we got all of your email addresses, why not? We could do it ourselves. So that'd be great. You want to take it?
Yeah, like I said, anything that, any questions or concerns or comments, just comment this through Slack. And, we end with a closing prayer. So, who would like to offer? Hey, John, can you offer it? Yeah.
Father, have your great pleasure as you say minutes. This is the end of it to remember that every time that we ask you to be present to keep the rest of it, to do our classes and to do new things and be inspired and listen to them. It's a great lesson each class and this
See you next week.
They left me. Like, they were